Welcome everyone to another Wednesday night, the fundamentals to gain inner peace with your host, Coach Menachem. And tonight we're doing week number 3 of the awareness journey. And we're going to be looking back, seeing how things are working out, where you are. And first, before we start, let's become present. And if you're in the course, you're slowly but surely learning what that means by doing the breathing, just being in the moment. So let's do that first. If you take a deep breath. And just become aware of where you are, how you got here. Become aware of your surroundings, what your day looked like. If you're busy running, so much to do, preparations, maybe watching the news, so hard to continue. Whatever it is, just becoming aware of what we're feeling. And let's get grounded. And then we turn inwards just to see how your body feels. What does my body feel? Stressed, relaxed, overwhelmed? And try to feel it. Where in your body do you feel it? Your jaws, your face, maybe your eyes, very tired. And when you take a deep breath and become present, you feel like you're falling asleep. That's an awareness. Your shoulders, let them drop. Take a few minutes. It's okay to take a few minutes to ourselves. It's okay to take a deep breath. It's okay to be present. Beautiful. Just by 3 deep breaths. Excuse me. You see what just a deep breath can do? Just 3 deep breaths to become present, start feeling. Okay, so are you ready for the next week, for week number 3? I do want to thank you all for the feedback, for the emails, and I see after 2 weeks, for those who are in the course, there are some movements, which is great. No matter what it is, whether it's you feel negative, you don't feel good about it, or positive, feel peaceful, whatever comes up, there's no good or bad. The awareness is what we're looking for. And even if you feel there's no change, you might say, I don't feel any movement. That's okay. Write that down, become aware, I don't feel anything. But remember, we're committed, we're doing the breathing 15 minutes twice a day, in the morning and at night. Even if you missed, you're not perfect. We're not stopping. We're committed. Some people mentioned that they're confused, they feel uncomfortable, distracted. And all of that is part of the journey, because this is what we're looking for. We're looking for that feeling. And you're feeling it. It might be feeling overwhelmed. It might be feeling confusion. But again, it's a feeling. So just take it in, become aware of it. We have to remember that doing this work is not to feel good. It's becoming better at feeling. Might in the beginning not feel so good. And that's exactly what's one of the things we're looking for. When you stop, slow down, and start feeling, you might have negative emotions come up. So you might become aware of that. So again, we're not doing the work to feel good. A lot of people might say, I want to feel better in my life. I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel good. But that's not really what we're looking for. What we're looking for is becoming better at feeling. So that's our goal for these 2 weeks. And now we're going to go to the third one. Basically, we're becoming better at feeling. Whatever feeling comes up, whatever feeling you have, it's okay. You can write them down. And let's see where it goes. Let's see after 3-4 weeks. And eventually we get to 10 weeks, and we might have a breakthrough, or we might not. Part of the work. So thank you again for sending in your emails, whatever you're feeling, whatever comes up. I did not get a chance to answer all the emails, but hopefully I'll get a chance to answer them. So let's see where this is going. Let's start. So the first week, we were focusing on becoming aware. Our conscious response was, this moment matters. And when we become conscious through our breathing, the connected breathing that we do, we become aware, become conscious in the moment. This moment matters. And that happens with the breathing. So if you're doing the breathing, you're doing great. We don't expect anything. We put all expectations on the side. Whatever comes up is fine. Whatever comes up. And again, positive, negative, there's no positive and negatives here. It just is. Whatever it is. So we become aware, or through the breathing, we become present. We're in the now, in the here, and we breathe, here I am. And we integrate those emotions that do come up, that feeling that comes up. The way to integrate those feelings is feel it and don't judge. Don't try to change it. You become aware of that feeling and just sit with it. Be with it without trying to change it, trying to go away from it because you don't like it. It's okay. Just keep on breathing. That's how we integrate. We become aware. We slow down, become aware of the moment. That's where things come up because that's where we are in the moment. Things can come up, again, whatever it is. And the way to integrate is to just breathe. Be there. And you can close your eyes, see where in your body you feel it. Let's get better at feeling. Not easy for everyone, especially if you're a beginner on this journey. Some people, they don't understand. What do you mean, what I'm feeling? So you have to slow down. You become in touch with what your body is feeling. It could be a pit in your stomach. Your shoulders might be heavy. Tingling. Different feelings come up. And especially if you're doing the breathing. Again, I believe most of you, while you're doing the breathing, feelings come up. So that was week number 1. This moment matters. Then we went to the past week, week number 2. We were identifying messengers. The conscious response that we were telling ourselves during that week is, I recognize my reflection and projections. And like we discussed last week, it's basically becoming aware of our triggers. We become aware of what's pressing our buttons. What are the things that we like? What are the things that we don't like? The people, the situations, we just become aware of, again, that feeling that comes up. So reflection, we mentioned, is to remind us of something. When something happens, it reminds us of something in the past. Again, we don't have to know what it is, but it reminds us something from when we were younger, or any, whatever age it is. It reminds us something from the past. So that's the reflection, that's the reminder. And our projection is what we do. What's our reaction? What's your behavior? Like we mentioned, you walk into a room and the person there reminds you of a parent. Okay, whatever it is. And what do? The way you talk, how you behave, that's the way you project. So these are the messengers, right? So that was this past week. By slowing down, doing the breathing, coming into this present moment, and then we start seeing things with a clearer lens. These messengers, these things that they're not so hard to find. Basically, all those things that make us upset. The situation, the people, the places, the things they have to do just makes you upset. And that's something, that's a message. It's a messenger. And a good idea to make a list. Just become aware of those things and write them down. We're not changing anything. Just become aware of those messengers. So that was the past week. Again, I recognize my reflections and projections. Basically, you're walking around and becoming aware. And sometimes you might not like it. Why am I thinking so much about things I do like, I don't like? My life was better before that. You might feel that way, but that's a feeling. Just become aware of that feeling. Okay, and now we're going to go to the next step. Week number 3. Okay, so before we continue, first of all, that you're here, you're doing the breathing. And even though it's not perfect, you're continuing. You got to congratulate yourself for that. And that's amazing. We're continuing, consistent. And hopefully we'll be here by the 10th week. But we didn't give up. We're not giving up. So the 3rd week, we're taking it to the next step. Now that we become aware of those things that make us upset, of the messenger, we have to understand what's the message. What does it bring up? Okay. Now, the example that he brings in the book, whether it's the mailman delivering the bills in your mail, you're not going to be upset on the mailman because it has nothing to do with him. Or looking in a mirror and seeing things you don't like, you're not going to be angry at the mirror. So when something happens during our day, somebody makes us upset. Till now, you're walking around blaming others. That has nothing to do with you. It's just they do things you don't like. They talk a way you don't like. It's all about them or the situation that you don't like. But we're slowly turning it inwards. What is it in me that it's reminding me of something? What is it inside of me that I don't like? So we're not focusing on what's going on outside of us. By becoming present, by seeing these messengers, these things that make us upset, now we have to slowly turn it around and look inside why. And how do we do this? So there are 3 steps. If you do the reading this week, you'll see that there are 3 steps of how to do it. The first thing is we take our attention off the messenger. We're focused on that person that makes us upset. For example, let's say you're at work at a meeting and a coworker says something negative. Says something negative about you, about the work that you did, and you start feeling it. Till now, you would react right away. You would say, whatever comes up, you would talk about it. But now we're learning how to consciously respond. But before we go to the response, first we become aware of that feeling. So we take their attention off that person, the coworker. Okay, let's not focus on them. That's number 1. Then we step away from the story. We usually tell ourselves a story that the boss probably likes her better, likes him better, he's doing a better job, he's going to get a raise, I'm not. We start telling ourselves a story. So move away from that story. So again, you can only do it if you're aware of that story. Once you're aware that you make a story, move away from that urge of having that understanding, the story that you put together. And then we place our attention on the feeling that comes up. And it's not easy. It's a skill that we have to learn. And I think for beginners, you would have to close your eyes to connect inwards to see what's coming up. What am I feeling? But that could take time. So first you become aware. You become aware of the things that are the messengers, and then you turn away from it. Don't focus on the mailman. Don't focus on the mirror. And you step away from the story that you tell yourself. And you become aware of the feeling that comes up. And we ask ourselves this question, and this is going to be a question that we're going to be asking ourselves this whole week. How does this triggering event impact me on the level of felt perception? In other words, how does it make me feel? What does it bring up inside of me? So that's a felt perception. How do I feel? And the interesting part of all of this is that we're not looking for answers. We're not looking for answers because the answer is usually going to be something that you're going to say, talk, verbal, and that's outside of you. We want to connect to the feeling. We want to turn inwards to see, how do I feel? So when you ask yourself that question, how does this triggering event impact me on the level of felt perception? What does felt perception mean? It's a feeling. How do I feel? And don't try to figure out what, again, the story or different something that happened to you a while ago. You don't have to figure that out. It's just a question that you're asking yourself. Like you'll see in the reading this week, the answer is not verbal and not mental. It's not something that you should say. You don't have to say it, just be quiet. And not mental in your mind either. Don't try to think, the thoughts are going to come up in the beginning. But really what we're trying to do is turn inwards and see how your body feels. You turn your attention inwards, you close your eyes, and you see, what does it make me feel? And that's felt perception. And again, it could be that you're not going to find the story in the past. So you're not going to be able to come up with, oh, I remember when I was 8 years old, a teacher told me. And that's why when a coworker tells me this, it reminds me of that. Some people do have those stories, but we're not looking for that. It's okay if nothing comes up. You just ask yourself those questions. So again, the 3 steps. Before we're going to go to the 3 questions that we're going to ask ourselves, there's 3 steps. Number 1, taking your attention off the messenger. Don't focus on the person, on the event that made you upset. Number 2, you step away from the story that you usually tell yourself. That's mentally. Step away from the story. Don't try to think what your thoughts are thinking because this and that. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and place your attention on the feeling. Good. So now you have those 3 steps. We can go to the 3 questions that you're going to be asking yourself. And again, we're not looking for answers. You're looking for feelings. Okay, so here's the 3 questions. Number 1, how does this triggering event impact me on the level of felt perception? How do I feel? What feeling comes up? Then you can ask yourself, when, prior to this present setup, did I experience the same uncomfortable felt resonance? When did I feel that feeling in the past? Again, we're not looking for answers. You just ask yourself, did I ever feel this feeling? If something comes up, that's fine. Nothing comes up, that's also fine. You're not trying to figure things out. Just ask yourself. Sometimes you have to ask it a few times. What in the past did I experience that I felt the same way? And the 3rd question, when prior to this earlier setup, did I experience the same uncomfortable felt resonance? I guess the same question, sorry. I'll have to look in the book for the 3rd question. Just give me a moment. Or maybe it's only 2 questions. Yes, I'm not sure now. It might be only 2 questions, but the main thing is this, to ask yourself this question over and over. And yes, all of this is in the book. It's going to be the reading this week. For those who have the book, for those who are following in the course, all of this is part of the reading. So we're asking ourselves questions, and the interesting part is that we're not looking for answers. And this might be a change, because usually when you ask yourself a question, you want an answer. But over here, we're not really looking for answers, because your answer is going to be in your mind. What we're looking for is those feelings that we have inside our body. What does our body feel? So we ask ourselves many times, when in the past did I feel the same way? And just close your eyes, breathe, connect. Just see what comes up. Just see what comes up. And this is basically the reading of this week. And the interesting part that I like about this is that we're really tapping into the feeling. We're going a little bit deeper. Not connecting with our situation, our surroundings. Yes, they trigger us, but that's not what we're going to think about. We're not connecting with the story that we tell ourselves about our situation, about the people around us. What we're doing is we're tapping into the feeling. And even when you ask yourself this question, when in the past did I feel this way? What feeling comes up? You're closing your eyes and you're tapping into your body. See what those feelings are. So the important part is to ask the questions. And you'll be surprised. Answers will come up, feelings will come up, different ideas will come up when it's ready. But we're not trying to analyze, we're not trying to think about stories, not trying to think about our past. We close that down. We close it down. And then we go into our body. And another important piece is that we're not going back in history. It's not like we're trying to see the stories that happened to us in the past. We're going in. Instead of going back, we go inside of us. What did we store away for many years? What feelings do we have? And we have the answers inside, but it's probably covered up. So when it's ready, it's going to come out. As of now, just ask yourself the questions. Ask yourself the questions and stay there, see the feelings that come up. So that's it for the 3rd week. And again, no matter what the breathing looks like, I'm sure many of you are getting used to it. It's becoming part of your routine. But even if it's not perfect, you continue with the breathing. You continue with the conscious response. You do the reading. And you enjoy the journey, whatever comes up. You might not like it, but you become aware of what's coming up. And we integrate it, like we mentioned. How do you integrate? By stopping, feeling, and just being with it. Just continue breathing while you feel it. And that's how it integrates. So beautiful. You're doing great work. Wherever you are, you're consistent. You're not giving up. And that's it for tonight. Hopefully, we will have a class next week on Hanukkah. The journey continues. We become aware. Again, Hanukkah, things are out of norm. Everybody different. Things that can come up. It's always a good time to become aware of messengers, of those triggers. You just become aware of them. And then you do the work, this week's work. And hopefully you'll get somewhere. But even if you don't, you just become aware, whatever comes up. Okay, we'll open it up for questions. If you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. Whatever it is. For those who are asking, so for the book, we are in week number 3 of our course. If you want, you can send me an email if you want to join. But we're doing number 3 now of our course, the awareness journey, which every week there's exercise, there's the breathing that we do. And for me, I'm excited. It brings up different ideas. The feedback that I'm getting is amazing. Again, there's no positive and negative. We're becoming aware, we're slowing down. And eventually we can respond instead of react. Because if we're not aware, if we're unconscious, we're too busy, there's so much going on, then usually you're probably reacting to fight and flight, reacting to so much going on, everything that comes in front of you. And then you might sometimes think, what did I do? Why did I do that? What am I doing? But here we are, we're learning how to slow down, to become aware of what's triggering us so that we can eventually make a decision how we want to respond in a conscious manner. Okay, very good. So that's it for tonight. I'll just wait a minute or two for questions. By the way, in the beginning of the book, so we're doing part 2 in the book, which has a 10 weeks. In the beginning of the book, let me just check it out. It has a lot of your questions. It answers a lot of your questions. Let me see where it is. You can look by navigational guidance. It has around, let me see, 46 or 45 different things that can come up, and you're not sure if you're doing it right, and all the questions that can come up. Maybe I'll do a video on it, but for now you can look in the book. 45 different things that can come up. Everybody's different, and you will get your answer over there. Just so that you don't feel alone. An example, let me give you an example. Our children may start behaving differently. Oh, wow. People around us might behave different. We feel confused. Eating habits might change. Cravings, overwhelmed feelings, all of these feelings. Might be hard to be around certain parents. Might be hard to be around certain people. Doesn't have to be parents. Again, triggers come up. People might ask, what's happening with you? What's going on? Are you okay? Feeling distracted and confused. Again, you might feel emotional things come up. You might feel physical things come up. You might have a cold. You might feel immune system is weak. All of this is part of things that come up. This is the movement that we're looking for. So that's it. Beautiful. Thank yourself very much. And again, if you want the material, if you want reading material, send me an email, coachmenachem@gmail.com. Any questions that come up, feedback, things that come up that you're not sure if you're doing it right or wrong, you can send me an email, coachmenachem@gmail.com, and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Freilich and Hanukkah. Enjoy the moment, enjoy what is, and I'll see you next week in Mitzvah Shem.